Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. This is Gat, your host. The natal chart that you see was a request to a natal chart analysis. With every natal chart comes a free report on astrology, numerology, its connection to the archangels as well. Now you can see it's a very interesting chart. So let's begin. Now, the reason why, only because I see a retrograde in her first house. So I want to see how many retrogrades if I can see. But uniquely, it's like I so far only see 2 retrogrades. All right. Now, her part of fortune is really almost on the border. Whenever I see something that close, I treat it as being on the border because it could be either way. So when we do her part of fortune, we're probably going to do it for both the first house and the 12th house. And it seems like her first house and the 12th house is where she's dealing with retrogrades. All right, just I will be taking my time, so just letting you know that. Man, if planetary retrogrades ready to get you in trouble if you may afraid to speak your mind afraid. Let me see. Let me do it this way. Because what I want to try to do right now, but it may not be as easy as I would like it to be. Jupiter retrograde past life. I really want to see if there's anything. There is information on retrograde planets past life, but we're talking specifically Jupiter. All right, I do have it. And that's what I wanted. Because of me, just in looking at it, that's going to be a theme. Because if you see when you look at your natal chart, somebody really put that together. You could say God, scientist, whatever you want to say, but that this was put together. She's dealing a lot with the number 20. So that would be somewhat of a lucky number for you, the number 20. So what I'm doing now is just setting up. Just give me a moment. Some of the stuff you have to log into. And hopefully we'll be able to flow. See, I'm setting up now so that when we do get started, we'll be able to flow right through the houses. All right, give me a moment. Now, I don't know what's wrong with her website. I don't know if it's my browser. This is the only website that didn't. I'm gonna try it a different way. Angel Therapy. All right, there we go. Log in. right, so. And 20 can be a couple number because it breaks down to 2. 2 plus 0 is 2, so it can be a couple number. But the number 2 is also very sensitive, but it's also about partners and partnerships. Okay, the numbers, this is Doreen Virtue, angeltherapy.com. Your connection with the Creator is strong and clear. God asks you to fill your heart and mind with faith. Ask Heaven for help in doing so if you desire. Your faith is being rewarded right now. And it's with the money. It's with the, no. Let me take that back. So wherever you see 20 on your chart, that's what it's telling you. Your faith is being rewarded right now. So you see 20 with the vertex cross, and then you have 13. And if you know anything about the 13th sun, he associates the number 13 with the divine feminine. Now I do have a natal chart called Your Twin's Negative Energies Can Affect You. Your twin flames, your twin souls, negative energy can affect you. And I deal with the number 13 there. Because as soon as I started that chart, it was 13 right there, right at the ascendant. So if you're interested in more, and I also deal with the number 19, but you don't have that many 19s. But you have a 19 with Vesta. But I deal with that in a natal chart called the Mayan. So if you were to go to my channel, open it up, look at the first videos. If you go back maybe, because I just gave you the titles. But if you go back maybe a month to 2 months, you can find it. And it's not that difficult because you had the titles. All right. So first thing we're going to look at, we're going to do your ascendant, Virgo. And then because we really want to know what's up with that Jupiter retrograde, especially since you don't have too many retrogrades. So what happened there is what we want to know. And sometimes it can just be describing your personality. So that's why I said you have to take your time to really get an answer. So you have Virgo in the first house. Now I'm going to see if myastrologybook.com has that answer. And yes, it does. Then I'm going to look at your chart and verify it again. Then I want to do Jupiter conjunct ascendant. Your ascendant is just the sun going over the horizon when you were born. That's your rising sign. Usually it is the first house. In your case, it is, but it's not always. So you really have to deal with people to know what they're doing. Because otherwise, your ascendant will be in the 12th house, but they're still going to call it your first house. But it's not. It's in your 12th house. And they put it there for a reason. So it's not in the 12th. I mean, yours is, but I see charts that are not. So I'm very funny to make sure, very precise to make sure that whatever they decided to do is carried out. So I'm putting Jupiter conjunct ascendant, and I couldn't get a lot of information on East Point, but it's still Sun energy. At the end of the day, East Point is Sun energy. But all I could get offline about the East Point was ideal, IDEAL. All right, so we'll take the Virgo first because it's easier because your Jupiter is retrograde, so that's gonna make a difference. It's not direct, so we have to make sure we get the correct definition because your natal chart tells a theme. It's like telling a story about your life, your predictions for your life. So what we want first is Virgo rising or Virgo ascendant, because your ascendant it can be called your rising, but sometimes it's not. That's why I say you have to be careful, because sometimes your rising sign is not. Let's do it this way. It just gets difficult. If your ascendant is really not in your first house, then it's not your rising sign. Like if they're saying your first house. So you got to be real careful with that word, because people just go ascendant, rising sign, first house, but a lot of times the ascendant is not in the first house. So you got to really watch those words. And it means a lot, because it's telling the story. It's like being on a map and it's one turn. And like the people from around the way, they be, yeah, that's over there on Oak Tree. But to them, it's on Oak Tree because they live there and they know when you get to Oak Tree, you better make that right. But if you don't know that, you driving on this map, yeah, Oak Tree, make a right, but you should have went left. And then like 100 miles down the road, dang, how can they say Oak Tree on the right? Oh, well, around here, it's the same thing to us, but it's not the same thing. So you got to really know what you're talking about. And it does make a difference, because I've proven, if you see like your ascendant in the 12th house, it's telling you something about later in your life. And sometimes it has to do with your twin flame relationship. Later in your life, you guys might finally get it together. So if it's in your first house, it's telling you something about the journey. But if your ascendant's in that 12th house, it should be counted in the 12th house. It should be called the first. It should be called first house ascendant, because it's the rising sign. So I know that sounds complicated, but like I said, guys like me know, and that's what's important. You got to just use somebody who knows what they're talking about. Now yours is Virgo. Yours is Virgo rising. You are in the first house. It is your ascendant there, as well as your east point. Virgo rising symbolizes that the development of efficient methods, techniques, and skills is very important to you. And also, like when you do your horoscopes, because you should do your horoscope. If you can't do it every day, you should try to do it throughout the week. But this is what you should do. Go ahead and do your rising sign, which in your case would be Virgo. Do your sun sign, which in this case, give me a second, would be Aquarius. But when you do your moon sign, do not do your moon sign on a Western website, because the West don't believe in the moon. See, I'll try not to get too metaphysical or get too much history, but the West deals with the sun, their patriarch. They don't deal with the mother too much. Now the Indians, India, they deal with the moon. So you want to go to a Hindu website to do your moon sign. Never get your moon sign from the east. And you'll have somebody say, oh, I do it. It don't make no difference. Yeah, but you're just being hard-headed. Go to people who deal with your moon sign. Don't get your moon sign, because they only deal with the east. They only deal with the sun. And that moon sign go deep, because it's the divine mother. You got the divine feminine talking to you through the moon, and you got the divine masculine talking to you to the sun. So you want to try to do it. Try to be as precise. And I don't think you'll have a problem with that, because Virgo can be very detail-oriented. All right. So your moon sign. Yeah, you got a unique moon sign too. Right on that border again. You got something right on the border. So if I did your moon sign, we could say Aquarius, but you're also Pisces, and there's a reason why the universe did that. So you got a sun and moon in Pisces. So that's amazing. And right now the sun, I don't know if right at this moment, but as of July 23rd, the moon and the sun were in Aquarius. And Leo and Aquarius, they build on each other. Like they strengthen each other. Sometimes they can get along, sometimes they challenge each other. That's why you see them oppose each other on your chart. So all this is important. So that definitely affected you one way or another. That new moon affected you, which is ironic, because only 4 days after it, or really 3 days after, you requested your natal chart. So that new moon definitely had an effect on you. Right? It deals with your subconscious, with a lot of stuff. On my other channel, Real Life and Metaphysics, they're saying that right now Leo is forcing the universe to be more mature. Now, this is what's ironic. Dr. Jen Royster, she has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. But even she said she gets a lot of contacts where people say, I don't feel my angels. I don't feel my angels. And she said, you don't feel your angels because your angels are teaching you to stand up on your own 2 feet. Now you hear me say that all the time. See, this is the Leo move. It's about courage. It's about stepping up. It's about stop being afraid. And you got to stop thinking somebody's going to be your fall safe and all of that. So if you were to go to and I'll give you the documentation on my more recent videos on real life and metaphysics. So I have 2 different web articles. where everybody's agreeing that knows astrology. Right now, it's all about that Leo energy, and my sun sign is Leo. So right now, people are being challenged. There's probably arguments going on, but everybody's challenging each other to what's going on. Like somebody questioned me about my reality, because I was questioning them about a few things, and they said my reality, so I responded. But these things are good if you understand. If you keep it in context, it's good. If you really get over emotional or take things too personal, then you can't handle it. But bottom line, we live in a very rough world, so you have to have some type of backbone, some type of toughness, and that's why even Dr. Jim Royster said your angels are telling you to stand up on your own 2 feet. So you're not going to feel your angels all the time because they're telling you, go ahead, you can do it. We're right here, we got you. Have faith, but we're not going to do everything for you. So now, Virgo rising, Virgo ascendant. Virgo rising symbolizes that the development. Oh, and those moon signs, those moon websites are astrago.com, indastro.com, and moonastro.com. And a lot of times, if you just use a search engine, you can find things, but you always want to do your moon sign on a Hindu website, because they're going to take you deeper. They're taking you into the womb. They're taking you into the divine feminine. You don't do your moon sign on a Western website, because they're giving you a sun interpretation of your moon sign. It doesn't work that way. Virgo rising symbolizes the development of efficient methods, techniques, and skills. And that's very important to you. Looking for perfection everywhere makes you aware of every imperfection. And you can be very self-critical as well. So you got to be very careful, because the truth is nobody likes a critic. And you got to think about your kids, because you don't want a mother that's always criticizing you, because it can mess you up psychologically. My mother's a Virgo, and I'm a little crazy because of dear mama. So you want to be careful, because my mother, when I used to type my resume, I type my resume and I will look at it and give it to my mother, and within 2 seconds, 3 seconds, she could show me misspelled words. She put the resume within 2 to 4 seconds. That woman could find misspelled words. She has a knack for finding the shit that you don't want to talk about. Now, then I thought I got better. So after her busting me 4 or 5 times on a resume, I would sit there and I would study it. I didn't even want to give it to her. I was so angry. And I would study that resume for no misspelled words and everything. I would give it to her. Within 5 to 10 seconds, she's found a misspelled word. I used to hate that. But that's a good thing though with Virgos, to find that. But then you just got to know when to relax. Because life, as serious as we make life, because like right now I'm a Leo, my sun sign is a Leo, but my moon sign is a Capricorn. I've been through a lot of stuff. So I tend to be serious about shit. But at the end of the day, we ain't moving anything. God is moving everything. The universe is moving everything. So we do have to have a sense of humor and learn how to lighten up. There's a time and place to be. And Capricorns and Virgos are very close. They're very earthy, very professional-like. But there's a time and place for everything. But when you get around the social atmosphere, even work, because even like at some jobs, if you don't know how to get along with people, they don't want you there. Like you could be real good at your job and you think, well, I'm real good at my job. That's what should matter. And it's like, nah, if you can't get along with people, we can't use you. So even if they have the problem, you'll be the one that's leaving. So remember that, unless you got God on your side or something's in your favor. But generally, if you come through the door, or you might be real professional, but you can't get along with the people, and they talking behind your back, or somebody going to HR, or somebody talking to a manager or something, and you don't even know what's going on, because you're like, I don't bother anybody. I keep to myself. I just want to work and go home. Like I'm not caught up with all this nonsense. But that might be the reason why they'll get rid of you, because you don't fit in. So you don't have to be self-critical, because again, we had to lighten up. Because you can take yourself through your, and like you can meet a nice guy and he's trying to show you that you're special to him, but you keep rejecting it because you got deep inside you're criticizing this, criticizing that. That's that self-critical. So you actually mess the relationship up. So that's like you work on that. That's the first thing. That's why I'm taking my time, because I'm trying to get the storyline of what's going on with you. And it's ironic that your Jupiter, which is supposed to be good luck and money and expansion, is retrograde right in the house that you might be self-critical, because you could be cutting yourself in the foot. The universe is trying to bless you, and you're fighting it back. So that's why I'm trying to make that perfectly clear. And you can always start today. Doesn't matter about yesterday, because you can't change yesterday. But you want to always lighten up, and also just don't be too critical on anybody. Or you might think it in your head, but before you start to speak and try to catch yourself. And if you're really humble, which a lot of people are not, you can, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that that way. It's not that serious. I'm sorry, especially with kids, because they don't need that. They don't need that drama, and it's going to affect, like I said, it's going to affect them. Like men would be like a lot of men would be totally different. You see, there's a firmness, because I know a lot of women want to make their boys strong, and I understand that part. But it also has to be love there too, because he's gonna have issues. He's gonna have issues with females and everything if his mother was always criticizing. So you want to remember that. So if you're raising kids, you're raising a kid. They're not raising you, so it's your job to raise the kids. Now it says, with your power locked up due to Leo on the 12th house crust, you have a greater sense of power than you can express. See, that's deep. So now they want us to really study what your Leo is. It is funny because I was just talking about Leo. And see, I didn't even know that. That's why I said I take my time with this. Yeah. So then that's where your retrogrades is at. See, they're already telling you. And I'm just letting you know right now, Chiron means healing, but it was something in your life that concerned a type of Leo energy. It doesn't have to be Leo per se, but it's a type of Leo energy. Plus, it's in Pisces that's going to make you hard to heal. Because Chiron means it's hard to heal. It's a wound. It's like a subconscious wound, especially with Pisces energy, that's hard to heal, and it has to do with Leo energy. But you also have part of fortune there, which can be a good thing. But that Chiron is going to bother it. So you definitely got some issues in that 12th house and that first house. And when you think of the Sphinx, that's what the Sphinx was. The Sphinx had the head of the Virgo in the body of the lion. And then some people say the Sphinx had the head of the Sphinx or whatever that is, like the cat head. And then, no, yeah, that was the Sphinx itself. The cat is a lion, but it's still a lion. It's still a lion family. It's still a Leo or lion family. It's a cat family, but it had the Virgo and then a lion. So those two are always together because the Virgo represents the mother, the Virgin Mary, and then represents the son. Who our country calls it Jesus, but there would have been Horus. Like it would have been the head of Isis in the body of Horus. And let me check that out real quick. And it says Horus triad. And they say the Abydos triad, or Osiris, Isis, Horus, but also Set. And I just want to just check it out again. See, like I said, they chopped it off and put Pharaoh's head on it, but it wasn't always Pharaoh's head. See, they don't want to talk about the previous. That's what I said, because they're trying to make it masculine, but it's not masculine. When you look at the Sphinx, you're looking at the Divine Mother and her son. Everything on this planet is always about the Divine Mother and the son, but some people just hide it. Because it even says Leo and the Sphinx. And finally, I got what I was looking for. This is planetwaves.net. Leo and the Sphinx Planet Waves by this guy's name is Eric Francis. With the lion's body, seems to represent the relationship between Leo and Virgo. And it doesn't have a human head because they cut off the real head and try to put Pharaoh's head on it. But even he says it seems to represent the relationship between Leo and Virgo. Because like I said, I'm a Leo, my mother's a Virgo. All this shit is metaphysic. It's way deeper than we could possibly imagine. And a lot of this stuff goes right back to the Sirius constellation and the Orion constellation and even Pleiades. In your Bible, Jesus said he has 7 candles in his hand. That's Pleiades, the 7 stars. The Pleiades is also in your Bible, probably around the book of Job. And I think Sirius is in your Bible too, SIR. So that's what this is really about. And the more we get in contact with the truth, the stronger we become. So you got power, but you got, like I'm telling you right now, you got some Egyptian stuff going on. Which, as we go through your chart, that's why I say people have to understand. It takes a lot of time to do this. It takes a lot of investigations to do this. So you can't just, like, if you want a bootleg natal chart, you can get a bootleg. So you can get some for free. But like, I laugh at somebody talking about free. You not that free shit ain't gonna tell you shit. It'll tell you some basics, bubblegum stuff, but it's not telling you no real stuff. And then you can get a bootleg one, but he's not talking about the asteroids. He's not talking about none of that. He's just gonna go through it, and then it's done. So you'll get a generalization, but it's bootleg. And then the ones that you're gonna pay $100 for, some of the stuff I be hitting on, they don't even touch, because they don't know jack. They just doing basic shit. So that's why I try to say it's just like common sense. All right. And you got another retrograde with Vesta. So all your retrogrades is in that area. And it's a Leo Virgo connection. So like I said, you have a direct connection to the Sphinx. The Sphinx energy. And that's what the Sphinx was really about. The mother at the head. Because she leads everything. That's why she is at the head. And the lion at the body. But they wasn't having it. She like they ain't want to show no black faces. So this is what they did. This is how confused they are. So to get rid of the mother, they chopped her head off and put Pharaoh's head on it. But then the people that came after them, like the people that came after the Sphinx, because they say that they used to be cat people in Egypt. Now most people ain't gonna believe that. But when you study deeper and deeper, they talk about a whole lot of visitations to Earth. The Dogon, where people that look like fish and stuff came to talk to the Dogon. So it's stuff you be seeing on television and in these movies, thrillers, and you be thinking it's just a movie, but they're trying to tell you stuff. So the people that represented the Sphinx had Virgo at the head and the lion at the body, but then their kingdom went away or whatever happened. So then the Pharaoh kingdom came, the Pharaoh's empire dynasty, and so then he said, "Get rid of that. We ain't dealing with no female. We ain't dealing with no female energy. Cut her head off." So they cut her head off and put Pharaoh's on it. But then the people that came at the Pharaoh said, "Wait a minute, blow that nose off. We don't want the world to know that black people was running stuff. Blow that nose off. Blow them lips off." So that's what's been going on over there. So that's what's up. So the reason why I'm telling you that, because you can see the confusion. But then if you think about it, on your chart, that's where all your R's are. All your retrogrades is right in that area. So you dealing with Leo energy, and you have to be careful because you got internal wars going on that could bother other people. So what I try to encourage people to do when they get their chart is to find out what's going on, because obviously we can be more aware of it, and maybe we could save relationships. Our relationships, we could save them, or we could take unnecessary stress. And if we are parenting, we can just be mindful of that. Always, we can always breathe. We can be thankful, and we can be happy that God is good. So we don't have to be so intense. Because somebody contacted me one time and they said I like you because you tell the truth and you don't take no nonsense and blah blah blah. And so they thought I was on it. They thought I would be on their side, but I'm always on the side of the angels at the end of the day. And but unfortunately for them, the reading was totally against them because they were bullying their family, they were bullying their kids, and they were like, "How can I help my husband be more of a? How can I help my children?" And the response the angel got back was like, the way you can help is lighten up. The way you can help is stop drilling people like a drill sergeant. So that's what's up. Because I'm really the coolest person you want to know in the world. But I just honest. That's all. And some people don't like the truth. So that's what's going on here. We got some internal stuff, which we're not done yet, because I'm trying to figure out exactly what it was. Because that's why if you watch your chart, it's almost like two oppositions. You got this other side where all of your activity, what the universe is, and then you got that side. So it's just common sense is past life, because they're showing you two different aspects. So that's why I say whoever did your chart, They knew what they was doing. So it says, with your power locked up due to Leo on the 12th house crust, you have a greater sense of power than you can express. This can result in feelings of inferiority, and the lesson of Virgo rising is in humble service to others. Virgo's greatest expression comes through the patient, willing service of others. Here you can get beyond yourself and the nitpicking and criticism. They're telling you the same thing I'm told you. The routine jobs with endless details can be very satisfying, and with this end in mind. The house your Mercury is in shows experiences necessary in developing self-awareness and your expression as an individual. So when we see wherever your Mercury is, that's going to show you experiences necessary in this life in developing self-awareness and your expression as an individual. Mercury's sign and aspects will indicate your ease or difficulty in doing this. Alright, I'm going to put this on pause. I'll be back. Also, this is how you know I know what I'm talking about. You got Vesta in there, your first house. Vesta is a priestess. When you're dealing with the Sphinx, because the Egyptians was very religious people. When you're dealing with the Sphinx and all that, all them pyramids and stuff, all that's about worship and their beliefs and stuff. Temples and priests, they have priest and priestess. The Divine Mother is a high priestess. So that's what you got going on. And that's another reason why people be going through stuff. You know, because they come to this life and they carry all that shit with them. So that's why, real talk, the best thing you can do is have some people you trust, even if it's one person, whoever it is, and just go out and have fun. Like, just go out and have fun. Because, like, you can't carry that. You can't carry the past life. You can't carry that into this life. And I'm going to try to explain a little bit. But you'll always have connections. But you got to be careful. See, what people don't realize, see, the reason why you come across a lion like me, because I done been through hell. Like, I done been everywhere. God done put me everywhere. I don't fear nobody. I don't fear nothing. But you got to learn how to just breathe easy and let it go. Because if not, especially in this life, because this third dimension that we in is fucked up. So it'll fuck you up. You got to learn how to be like, just like I said, learn. The more you tap into what I'm trying to tell you, your spiritual side, and then you start to see the power of the universe. And you'll start not worrying and stuff. Because even when people go to church, they try to tell you don't worry and stuff, but then really not worry. You got to really take control of your life. And you got to watch who you around and stuff like that. But you don't want to worry. You don't want to keep going internally, because that's what retrogrades do. They keep taking you internal, but sometimes you gotta learn when to come out. That's how I look at it. Sometimes if it takes you internally so that you can change, that's good. But if it takes you internally so it keeps taking you deeper and deeper, keep trying to pull you back to your past life, but you in this life now. And see, you'll have contacts that be trying to pull you back to that. But you're not in that life no more. This is a new life. So you gotta learn how to you gotta get the mastery over that. And sometimes it's just focusing on what you do. Now things may be brought out, but again, it's common sense. Like, because somebody may say, "Hey, well, you're from this sacred priest class. You're from the sacred priestly class," and they try to like pull you back in. I'm talking about people from your past life that followed you here, like for real. I'm talking real shit. Like then when you be seeing like wasn't like Star Wars. He was still able to talk to somebody that was dead, but they was still talking to him and shit. So I'm saying shit like that is real, like real. Like my family all strong black women, Virgos and stuff. So I see a lot of shit, and like people always talk about ancestors and stuff. So, but you got to know how to balance that out. But you can only balance that out by taking authority. The worst mistake you can make is to let that shit make you crazy. And I try to teach people that, because some people, they let that kind of stuff blow their mind. Like, that shit don't fear me. Like, I know it's other people. It's like if you walked in, you wouldn't get scared if you walked in McDonald's. It's people in there. But because it's the unworld and other worlds, we get scared to death. And if you let them scare you, they will scare you. But they can't scare you. And if you're tapped into source, see, I'm tapped into source, they can't hurt you. So no matter what they're saying, you don't have to be afraid of it. So you don't have to worry about that. Just live your life. And that's what Psalms 23 is about. Walking through the valley of shadow of death, I should fear no evil. See, evil is there. He walking around in the valley of shadow of death. Evil ain't there, but he's focusing on that source. So these things just help you focus on the source. Find out what your source is. Focus on it. It should be that rock, because like we talked about the rock of salvation. So we focus on that rock, and then we move forward with no fear. But you don't have to carry it. You don't have to. If you carry it, it's because you want to carry it, or you just don't know how to get rid of it or deal with it. And like I said, if there are past life messages, we will find them. But sometimes people just feel a certain way because they're carrying the past life into this life. And that's why you see like a little kid and they old soul, or you see a little kid and they always serious or stuff like that because they're always depressed. They're carrying it from a past life. And I think Tupac had that problem because Tupac was always thinking about death and had problems with depression and shit. But you don't have to carry it. So that's the first step. So of course we're still not done, because before I leave, I want specifics of your 12th house and first house. It says you look a lot younger, 10 to 15 years, than you really are, since the ascendant is ruled by Mercury, the god of youth. Since this ascendant, that's what I was going to say. What do you mean ascendant is not ruled by Mercury? Since this ascendant, because your ascendant is Mercury. So Mercury rules Virgo and Gemini. But see, when you get that Gemini, again, you're dealing with the twins. And Mercury is about the god of communications as well. And we'll talk more about Gemini when we get there and stuff like that. And Mercury is about to go retrograde, I'm hearing, so that might affect you a little bit. So you might want to make sure you know about Mercury retrograde. And essentially it means things might start breaking down. Things that normally work well won't be working. And you might have trouble with communications with people. They may not understand what you're talking about. You may not understand them. And be careful with a Mercury retrograde, because something will go wrong and then you'll take it to get fixed. But if you had just waited till after the retrograde, it'll be working fine. So you just got to realize sometimes you have to stick it out. Okay, they say your mind is practical, methodical, and alert. Your verbal skill and attention to detail is obvious to all who meet you. Sometimes it seems as though experience gets by you, and like a virgin, Virgo, you're not even touched by them. You need to learn to really digest your experiences and make them your own. You're quick of body, high strung and often nervous, so you may be lean or weary. Virgo is a sign of discrimination, but taking yourself and others to task over every little detail can leave everyone, including yourself, begging for mercy. So that's why I said nobody really, all that complaining and stuff, Leos don't want to hear. Like, don't nobody want to hear. I know I don't. See, I had 2 Virgos. And then I had the Pisces, and the Pisces was like a Virgo because she was a younger one. So you had the mother, the older sister, the Virgos, and you had the Pisces. And she's trying to be like them because those are the people she look up to. So I had it rough. It's important to balance the criticality of Virgo with the compassion of the other opposite side, Pisces. It's funny. It's funny. I keep saying stuff. As soon as I say it, it come out. And it's funny. I don't know if y'all catching that. So anyway, so my Pisces younger sister, she married this good Southern guy. So he put up with all the craziness. And through years and years and years, he finally kind of deprogrammed her. So she was trying to apologize years later of the hell they put me through. Because that was some wicked hell. Be aware of carrying around negativity that comes from a feeling of inadequacy, particularly over not being perfect in your own eyes. See, that could be horrible, especially if you could see. And this is the way our universe meets, because you'll meet a nice guy and he really wants the best for you in a relationship, but you're too busy dealing with internal stuff. And that stuff will get messed up. And then what happens when the guy backs up or you push him away, then you're wondering, well, if he really loved me, he would have stayed and all that. You got to get past that, because it could be self-defeating. That could be self-defeating. Like, it gets to a point where you have to make goals. You know, nobody's gonna be perfect though, but you make goals Double check your goals, and don't be afraid to tell somebody. You know, tell them why. Like I'm a Virgo, whatever. And tell them why, and I'm working on it and stuff. You know, and I appreciate that. You know, I appreciate you and talk, cause that's what I try to teach people. You might have an okay situation. People don't mind if you. Nobody expects perfection usually, so people don't mind. But when you have a trouble apologizing, because in my family they'll cuss you the hell out for nothing. You ain't do jack. They will cuss you the hell out, but never say sorry. And if they ever say it, it's like, sorry. It's like I can't hear you. Like I heard every word you say when you cuss my ass out, though. So this is stuff you don't want to do if you're talking about happy relationships. But in third dimensional, it's just easy to do it the other way, and then you have a broken up family, and then don't deal with it or say, oh, you know, he's crazy or he always keeps to himself. Yeah, but there's a reason why he keeps to himself. What's the reason why he keeps to himself? Don't want to talk about that part. So you are careful, precise, and come across as caring and a responsible person. Your appearance is usually refined and neat, and you dislike what is coarse or crude. All right. So what we're seeing here is Virgo. There's Virgo and ascendant. Now what I'm trying to tell you is this is a she's got a see Mother Mary is Isis. Okay, because what they did, they stole everything. They stole everything from us. So when I say Mother Mary, I'm talking about Isis or the divine feminine. So that's what you got. And you're also a priestess because that's what she is. And that's why you have to understand Vesta and Virgo are the priestess. And it's all past life. All right. So give me a second because we're going to take this real slow because your first two houses are critical. The other ones might be also, but they're telling a story. So like I said, I'll be doing a few things. I'm just trying to find. All right, this says Vesta and the Old Soul Connection, but it's a forum. That's what makes me mad because the forum. The goddesses are coming up close with Vesta. All right, so we're gonna try to. If they come through, it looks good, but sometimes you'll read it, and when you click on that link, it don't be saying nothing that you're looking for. All right, now this is Dr. Bairavee. She's also on YouTube, but we're gonna do Vesta retrograde because it was her that taught me that Vesta is a priestess. Vesta retrograde because we really want Vesta retrograde and Virgo. I don't know if she's going to do it. Vesta retrograde and Virgo. Cancer, Pisces. But you can also do Vesta retrograde in Aries because Aries rules the first house. She says, but see, she's good, so she may mention it. Dr. Bairavee is really good. She really understands Vesta. All right, now we're going back in. So that's how people see you. What I just read, because your first house, see, your first house is your personality. The ascendant is your rising sign. There's a big difference. But sometimes your ascendant is in your first house. So everybody goes, the ascendant, the first house. but sometimes it's not in the first house. So that's why we had to get that straight. All right, so I still want to do. I'm gonna try Vesta retrograde in Virgo, but I doubt if they give it to me. Vesta retrograde. Well, let's do this in first house, but I still want it as a retrograde. They may give me that one though. Maybe. Okay, what just happened? All right. Because I really want to make sure I got this. Give me a second. This thing kind of tricked me, and it's very important I get what I'm looking for. All right. It's funny. This says Twin Flames Astrology, and then it says Vesta retrograde. So I want to see what they're talking about. All right. Now, this is twinstrology.com. She's also on YouTube. She said Vesta helps you balance the masculine and feminine and purify to heal you. Especially issues related to sexuality and the sexual energies. This will bring out your creativity and help devote the creativity to your mission. See, but Vesta is fire. She's your fireplace, she's your furnace, she's your chimney, she's the energy in your car, she's your energy. Anywhere you see Vesta means this is where you have to relax sometime, because otherwise you'll be going. But see, when you deal with Vesta retrograde, it can deal with past life, depending on where it's at, because it's energy. So it could mean a lack of energy in that area. It might mean, and Vesta also can mean confinement. Cause like some houses, you got to go downstairs in the basement if you want to deal with the heater or with the. So that's Vesta. and that if the heater's confined. Because like I said, I got issues with Virgos, and this is a true story. Because I'm telling you this because you got this ascendant in Virgo, and I'm already feeling that you got connections. Like you deal with a lot of stuff. But I was here. This is before I knew all these asteroids was females and stuff, and it was on a Sunday. And at the same time, I was starting to learn more about the asteroids in Vesta. Our furnace started acting crazy. Our heater started smelling and stuff. And my mother, who's a Virgo, my older sister, is no longer with us. She's rest in peace. So I was studying Vesta can be heater, your furnace, and all that. And all of a sudden, our thing started smoking all crazy and was acting really crazy. So my mom was just tripping out. But I kind of knew what was up. But I can't tell my mom. My mom think I'm crazy. But see, my older sister has come back on numerous occasions. Different ways, animals. Because I can check all this out with astrology. That's how I know who it is and everything. And I know it was my sister. Now to show you I know what I'm talking about. So my mom's went to church and I'm just watching everything. But I figured everything was going to be okay because I figured it was a message. I didn't think nothing was wrong with nothing, but it did, like it wouldn't work for me. It just went crazy for no reason. We've never had that happen. So my mom, as soon as church was over, my mom's came back. I told her don't worry and stuff. And so when my mom's called to have the technician come over, the guy that came over to look at everything, that's who my sister used to be in love with when they was teenagers. So this is all confirmation of what I'm trying to tell y'all. See, this is what you need to wake up to because it's the truth. And then a lot of these people that everybody's saying crazy, if they realize they not crazy. Because I used to say, if I only had a video camera, everybody lying on me, I'm telling the truth, everybody lying on me, trying to make me think I'm crazy. If I only had a video camera, and then all of a sudden YouTube came out, and once I hit YouTube, it was a done deal. Now all these people that was talking shit about me, all they can do is bow down, because there's too much evidence, too many people, too much. They can't do jack about it, but bow down. Even some of them have contacted me and asked for readings and stuff. Same people that was giving me hell my whole life. So Vesta is also that fire, that furnace, that heater. And the reason why I'm telling people that because if you have stuff like that going on, it may be a message. It may be a message. And that's why you really can't sleep on this. You have to make time. If you can't make time, you have people like me that are voted to doing this. So it can be done. You don't have to stay in third dimensional. If you stay in third dimensional, it's because you choose to. And this is what she's saying. Twin astrology. Vesta is helping you anchor the 5D or fifth dimensional energies and balance the masculine and feminine to purify and heal you. But because it's retrograde, which we'll learn more about Vesta retrograde, but it can deal with the past, it can deal with it internally, it can even mean like where you need to have more energy in this area. It's a lack of energy in this area, but it has different meanings. So you have to really, that's why you see I'm taking my time. You can't just rush through it. Okay, this is LLEWELLIN.com, and it's about the asteroids. But Vesta is a priestess too. They say she's sexual and stuff like that, but at the end of the day, she's trying to make you have spirituality as well. If Vesta is transiting your first house, we know it's time we check out our own desires and needs for our lives. It says if our fifth house is activated, it is a sign, it is a signal we need to nourish the flame that imbues our creativity. So Vesta in the first house, but your fifth house is ruled by Leo. So you got, like I said, you got a Leo Vesta thing going on. But they're telling you, like I just got finished telling you, you gotta have fun. I just same thing I'm telling you. Cause see, when you're dealing with retrogrades and feeling insecure and stuff like that, you don't think you should be having fun. And you don't think you're worthy to have fun. And just the opposite. That's exactly what you need to be doing. And also, the fifth house is children. It's Leo, and Leo is about children, fun, and stuff like that. And we'll talk more about it when we get to Leo. They say if the person has children, If the person have children, you need to deal with them and their needs and perhaps give them encouragement and a prep talk if necessary. Now remember, where we're at right now don't have nothing to do with Virgo. This is strictly Vesta. And even they're telling you, like with the kids, nobody's saying stuff to hurt feelings, but I had a Virgo mom. That shit was hell. I mean, I'm a strong dude because of it, but that shit was hell. So you don't want to raise your kids like that. You know what I'm saying? Because you want your kids, you want your men to be able to treat women a certain way, a good way, and you want your kids not to be all insecure and stuff like that. So when we mothers, you really got to be aware of that. And if you got like Lilith, if you're Lilith, when we get to your Lilith, because Lilith is a trip with kids. So that's all we saying. Because when you're mindful of it, you can be aware of it. And then if you could just confess it, you start to deal with it. You understand? And then your kids see the change and stuff like that. It's a beautiful picture. But it's like when we see these things and we don't change and we don't want to hear it or we don't listen, and then we just go through a life. You're gonna repeat that. It's karma. I keep telling you, retrogrades is karma. You're gonna keep repeating that shit over and over again. So that's what it's trying to tell you in first house. So that's why I take my time, because there's messages here. See, Vesta's she's down with the family. Like you'll always, a lot of times you'll see Vesta with Cancer or in the fourth house, because she's trying to bring spirituality to the family and stuff. That's why she came on that Sunday. In our land, Sunday is the day of the big day. That's the priest. Everybody going religious Sunday. So she came on Sunday to make a point, letting you know I am a priestess. Because a lot of people got her confused. They try to make it about sex. It's not always about sex. Sometimes it is. But at the end of the day, Vesta is a priestess. She works with the Virgin Mary or Isis. All right. But I'm still not done. We've got a long way to go in this first and 12th house. I'll be back in a minute. All right. Now we continue. All right. Now what are we looking for here? Give me a second. Oh, go back. And some of y'all might remember when I did Christian Psychic, and she calls herself a Christian, but her prices, just so y'all know, her prices range around $800 on anything. On anything, it doesn't matter, $800. Because we went there one day and we was looking at her prices, because she was the one that was explaining Chiron healing. So she's My Christian Psychic, and she has an ad on lindagoodman.com. It says advertise, join today. Because we may end up going to My Christian Psychic again. I don't know. We may end up going there, but I doubt it. Not in this reading. Okay. Now listen to this. Now I'm at linda-goodman.com. This person posted, I recently read somewhere that the position of the asteroid Vesta in the natal chart is very significant for an old soul, because Vesta is related to higher spiritual purposes and mission in life. The article said more things about this which I cannot recall as of now. And then this person says, I feel younger or more immature sometimes, but we just got finished saying that they do have, see Leo is very youthful too, but because of the Mercury and Virgo, this person looks younger than they really are. They said anywhere from 10 to 15 years. All right. So I'm reading all these other people where their Vesta is. All right, so that gave us a good piece of information. So they call her Vesta, the keeper of the flame. She's associated with the astrological sign of Virgo. That's the Virgin or Isis, and Scorpio. Now, Scorpio rules the 8th house. That is a house of the underground ruled by Pluto. Pluto rules Scorpio, but it's also the house of the divine womb. But that's what all of this is about. That's why when you read your Holy Bible, what does it do? It opens up talking about that darkness that everything came out of. That's the divine womb. And they do it again in John chapter 3, where Nicodemus came in a night. Well, the night is the evening, or Eve. And your Genesis chapter 3, verse 20 tells you that your Eve is the mother of all living. This is the mother, the divine womb that everything came from. That's why Genesis chapter 3 also is about the womb. Or in your belly from now on, when you have childbirth, you're going to have pains. It's always going to be about the womb. And in John chapter 3, Nicodemus came in the night or evening of the divine womb, and they start talking about being born again in the mother's womb. And then they talk about the wind. See, that wind is Ma'at, because Ma'at created everything out of chaos. But it was a lot of wind, and it was a storm, it was chaos. And Ma'at got the order to create from Isis. So just like your Bible goes God and his Holy Spirit, but the Egyptians knew Isis and Ma'at. And that's why in your Bible, once again, baby Jesus, goes to Egypt to escape Herod, or Herod, her executioner, who I'm always talking about on the spiritual channel, who that executioner really points to. Same executioner you see in Revelation chapter 12. He'll shepherd the nations with a rod. That's her rod. That's why Revelation chapter 12 starts off with the divine mother. That's the priestess. That's why it talks about the moon. On your natal chart, the moon is the divine feminine. And then that feet is her priestly class, called the Levite priesthood. But these are angels. And that's why they had the Ark of the Covenant. Thanks to Donnell Whitmore, he just reminded everybody that the priests used to go ahead with the Ark. I think it was Donnell that said it. The priest went ahead with the Ark. But that Ark is really bigger than that. See, if you understand more about Nibiru, you start to realize you see the connections between Nibiru and the Ark. And Rastafari Sabathika is trying to show you, but he hasn't even figured it out. But he's doing videos. And I got them on this channel. Well, it's on Real Life and Metaphysics, not on this channel, my other channel, Real Life and Metaphysics, where you see Rastafari starting to make a connection between the Ark of the Covenant, the Destroyer, and stuff Jay-Z's doing with the hand signs and stuff with Haile Selassie. But I'm not saying one religion is more than another. They're all giving you pieces of the puzzle. But my job is trying to wake people up, but some people ain't ready. So I learn to fall back. But like one thing I don't do is let people question my reality. Because my reality is factual. I'm coming with facts. My reality, I'm blessed. I'm no longer in third dimension. My reality, bills are paid. So you can't question my reality, because my reality in those areas are great. And those are the main areas in life, because your bills got to be paid. Otherwise, where can you stay if you can't pay your bills? So that's the main thing. So if I see somebody going a certain way, I feel it is my job. And right now, if you look on Real Life and Metaphysics, right now, everything is about Leo. The true north node is in Leo, because Leo is being told by the universe to tell the truth. See, we've been playing games. We say, oh, it's a thin line, or, it is right and wrong, but then there's a gray area. And people keep sneaking through the gray area because they don't want to really do what's right. They want to do what they want, but they still want to look right. So sometimes you need somebody to stand up and say, hey, listen, the king ain't got no clothes on. What are you talking about? Why y'all telling us the king got on some high technology clothes? He ain't got no clothes on. So you got that one crazy person that's crazy enough to say, nah, I'm not falling for it. So that's that lion. So that's what's going on right now. That the Leo is helping Virgo, because Leo's going to help Virgo heal. As above, so below. Like right now, it's all about Leo and Aquarius. And me and my friends in Aquarius, we go back and forth, but we sharpening skills. We're sharpening steel. So as above, so below. So it is healing. And that's why the way things are done, everything's confidential. But we want to let people know what's really going on. And see, that's, as a parent, that's what you want. You want your kid to be able to. See, me, I'll tell you right up. My kids would be trained, because once that 18 hit, I'm like, listen, I carried you for 18 years. It's over. I'll help you. I'll invest in you, but your ass getting up out of here. I love you, daughter, but you're getting up out of here. But that means you got to spend time when they're young to be training them. Like last time, my sister was here with her husband and their 2 kids, they kept asking, what are you going to do? What do you like to do? And then you should be doing that when they little. So you have a good idea. You don't wait till they're old and now nobody has no idea what's going on. What do you want to do with your life? What are you talking about? I'm not ready to start my life yet. I just got out of high school. And what you're really saying is it's time for you to get up out of here. But you should have did that earlier. You should have been training them so that they're already ready to go. All right. Now give me a moment, please. So we're still looking at Vesta low because we really want to look at that Vesta retrograde. So Vesta, the keeper of flame. So that's why I told you Virgo is a virgin, but then Scorpio is her divine womb. And that's why when you read Revelation 12, that's what you're looking at. You see the virgin or the mother, but now she's pregnant. Because this is a woman that gets pregnant without a man. Everything came from her. She didn't need a man. And then the son is born. But that's all talking about Scorpio, that womb. Because that son's got to come out that womb. And Revelation chapter 9 is talking about Scorpio, or the 8th house, the bottomless pit. And then when you read Genesis 3, once again, Eve talking about pregnancy in the womb. So in pre-Hellenic, now I'm at Carol Barber, CAROLBARBEAU. In pre-Hellenic times, Vesta was associated with unmarried temple priestess who acted as channels for the descent of the moon goddess during sacred sexual sites. So they're already telling you you're going to have a unique connection to the moon, probably a unique connection to Scorpio, but we have to be very careful of your Lilith placement. These priestesses heal through sexual energy as well, more often herbs. So they keep talking about this sexual energy. So now the Romans took Vesta priestess and said, wait a minute, Vesta's not about sexual healing. But she still can be, I'll tell you that, I know she is. But it says that no, it's more chaste Vesta versions. And they forswore their sexuality for spiritual commitment. So if you ask me, what I'm trying to tell you is Vesta is going to give you whatever you need to help heal you. If you need sexual healing, Vesta will give you that. Some guys need nurturing, and some people need a motherly nurturing. She'll give you that. You might need a little bit of tough love. So she's going to give you that. But whatever house she's in, she's going to give you what you need to heal. So they say that even though the Romans tried to put, because that's what we're still under Rome, and they tried to silence the woman. So they tried to put Vesta under wraps, but they said that only made her more powerful. So they say when Vesta heals you, there won't be any sexual repression, there won't be rape, and there won't be a disassociation of sexuality from spirituality. They say that only happened because of the patriarch system that came from the Greeks and the Romans. And I have a female friend that says the same thing. Vesta is the energy which will help cure pain from the past, and that's why your Vesta is retrograde, and open you up to being more sexually expressive and creative if you harness the power within yourself. So when you see Vesta in your house and sign in your birth chart, it's showing an energy you brought with you this lifetime. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's why we can't rush. We got to find out what's going on. Let me see what time it is. So they say you got to know the sign your Vesta is in, Virgo, the house placement, Aries rules the house. But they're saying you even want to know where Vesta is out in space right now. Vesta represents your capacity to integrate and focus your energy of being wholeness to yourself. This energy is a sacred, feminine, creative energy which allows us to regenerate and dedicate ourselves to aspirations, plans, and goals. Vesta is the guardian of the sacred flame. Sometimes they say the sacred hearth. She helps you renew yourself, to arise from the ashes and be reborn in another form. She teaches you how to cleanse, repair, and revitalize your bodies with your mind. This type of person can be a counselor, therapist, massage person, alternative healing techniques. And Vesta does, Virgo deals with healing and stuff, or even cleaning, health and healing and services, so even cleaning. So she's all about healing yourself, even affirmations, traditional healing, might be herbal, whatever's going on. Alternative healing therapist. So astrologically, Vesta relates to work, and she should, because Virgo relates to work or service, devotion, spiritual practices, solitude, commitment, sacrifice, aloneness, a range of sexual problems based on fear of intimacy. And she shows you your way out of these things as you identify who you really are. And that's what we're having. And we're having a self-identity problem in the first and probably 12th house. Become devoted and committed to becoming all you are and more, and work for a goal which will not only bring light to yourself, but to others. But if a person doesn't understand Vesta, or if they don't let Vesta work in them, it could be sexual alienation, inhibitions, repression, sorrow, narrow-minded energy, and is often an energy which we channel into overworking when the natural force outlets are not expressed. So that's like Mary J. Blige, her song "She Works All the Time," and Faye, Biggie's wife, Faith Evans, because they both made songs. And Faith Evans used to write for Mary J. Blige, but there's always songs about working all the time to get away from the fact that we have these issues. But if we acknowledge Vesta and work with her energy, it creates a magical energy where we focus our sexual power into creativity, joy, and live a committed life to whatever is sacred for us. Vesta does not require the sexual act, rather the power and focus of this energy towards committing ourselves and focusing on healing both mentally and physically. Now just keep in mind your Vesta is retrograde, so whatever I'm about to read, we have to remember at some point we're going to have to apply retrograde to it. Oh, she even did it. Oh, I love this woman. She says retrograde energy is another lifetime when the lesson was either overdone or underdone, and you have to look at other things within the chart to see what the lesson is in this lifetime. So it is a bit more complex. Vesta in Aries, because your Vesta Aries is Vesta rule Aries rules your first house, so you want to say Vesta in Aries. The warrior king, the warrior queen priestess, bringing courage, bravery, and sometimes a bit of rash. Let's go for it right now into your life this lifetime. Vesta in Aries is the most powerful energy of healing self and of showing others the wisdom and the bravery of self-care. Fire and passion are the gifts of this sign. But remember, it's retrograde Vesta retrograde. So this means in another lifetime, this lesson was either overdone or underdone, and you have to look at other things within the chart to see the lesson in this lifetime. So it's a bit more complex. It's funny, she wrote Vesta in Aries Gemini, because Gemini is an air sign, but she didn't have to write Aries. She could have just said Vesta in Gemini. That was funny. Vesta in earthly Virgo is the healer of the world. She's a priestess and Earth Mother, just like I told you. This is the goddess energy of healing of the soil, the land, and shows our connection to all living and earthly things. Vesta in Virgo truly carries the virgin energy as it is truly intended. Virginity is not so much a physical thing as an ability to recreate and regenerate the self into new being when necessary. And this placement sometimes has to learn this lifetime, often through its wounds, in order to generate the life lesson. The first 6 signs of the zodiac always carry the energetic healing of healing self and are about first doing our work before we take it out to the world. The next 6 signs of the zodiac are more about others, and often we have to be strongly reminded to take care of self and are often more concerned with others than self. So that was interesting. So I want to save this website. All right, give me a moment. We're going to do it again. This is bookmarkastrologer.com. Vest in the first house. Every now and then you have to get away from everybody and everything in order to recharge. If Vesta is close to the ascendant, there may have been some blockage at the time of birth. And your Vesta is close to the ascendant. Vesta, yeah. So that was Vesta in the first house, which we did. But it also could be Vesta in Aries. Gives the ability to focus quickly and intensely on any task. Good for non-routine projects requiring direct action. Vesta in Virgo focuses on detail. Good for any project requiring precision and attention to detail. So now we're going to look at some aspects, if we can. Yep, you do have a Vesta kind of aspect thing, the ascendant, but also Jupiter. So let's see what happens. But it's still retrograde. Vesta aspecting Jupiter. Jupiter is a planet of optimism, and it expands wherever it touches. The harmonious aspects between Jupiter and Vesta are good for focusing on the big picture or big projects, on intellectual, philosophical, or religious matters. The stressful aspects could manifest as religious or philosophic fanaticism, too much focus on one's own point of view, or conversely, a total lack of focus on matters involving general principles. Overemphasis of sexual matters is more likely with the stress aspect. But I think what happened with you is sexual repression. Because Jupiter wants to expand. Jupiter, and he's the father of Venus. So Jupiter, he's all about expanding, having a good time, love. But Jupiter retrograde would be a person that's like, nah, I don't want to do that. Or Jupiter direct is somebody who believes in luck and the universal helping you out. But some people with Jupiter retrograde, they don't believe in luck. They just believe in, I got to do it. I work hard. But in your case, the more I'm reading, is sexual repression. And it's also dealing with past life or something that went down in the past life. Venus aspecting the ascendant. But remember, your Vesta is retrograde. The harmonious aspect makes it easier to focus in general. The opposition aspect could indicate focus on someone else, particularly a partner. So this might be a twin flame situation, because that's what Chiron usually means. Chiron retrograde is usually somebody to hurt you. And the more and more I'm looking at it, if they're not a Leo, they have that bold Leo personality, but it hurts you, and it's also some repression there as well. It could also indicate that one focus better when there is someone else around. The square aspect could show difficulties with partners over who does that work. Partners who also interfere with work and focus. But with the square, there could be difficulty focusing even without a partner, because the things you want to focus on clash with the type of person you are. So now we're getting to the bottom of why you may be having Aries. Astro Air. So what are we doing here? And why? Okay. So I think we got it. So this is Man, MANDIOCKLEY.blogspot.com. They're going to tell you about Vesta in mythology as well as Vesta in astrology. If you want to know more about Vesta. All right, we're getting closer to Jupiter retrograde, I believe. Give me a moment. Now we're going to look at Jupiter retrograde, but I want to look at your first house yet again. All right, so we're kind of going with something went down, and it is somewhat of it's called certain internal. It's from the past life, but it's called certain internal issues, but also is leading to sexual repression. So Vesta is coming to help it be more spiritual, but also to show her the spiritual power of sexual healing. And she can't be she's so repressed that she can't expand. Like Jupiter would love her to expand, but she's repressed. It's kind of like, I'm not saying this is her, but it's like when they be doing those TV shows and it'll be a female that works there, and she comes and she's like a little nerdy, and you know she's dressed up and up, but she's like the little nerd because she's real repressed, and they're like, somebody needs to loosen her up. Like, she's got to loosen up. That's probably like me a little bit too, but it's only a guy, but a little nerdy. All right. People born with Jupiter being retrograde in their natal chart are introspective about education, philosophic, cultural, religious interests and activities, with mystical approach to religion and philosophy. Now I'm at astrago.com. They are curious, they are cautious in accepting current cultural, religious attitudes and standards. So this person might be what we would call religiously repressed. Because they may be going by what their religion teaches them or something, but it causes them to be repressed. They have the ability to succeed in projects left or abandoned by others. They achieve their material goals by employing indirect, subtle psychological warfare methods. Those born with retrograde Jupiter have keen foresight and can predict against the conventional lines. They are good in predicting chance games and speculations. Can be helpful to make money through betting. It's kind of funny but yet you got Jupiter retrograde. So that's like saying, I don't know. Because they're trying to say the person would be good with betting and stuff, but Jupiter direct is money, money, money. Jupiter retrograde is really like loss. There will be unusual degree of psychological environment with past conditions of family and social upbringing. This may indicate neurotic tendencies in the family if Jupiter retrograde is afflicted or aspected by malefic planets. It says these type of people can also get cheated by fake gurus and those with lesser levels of knowledge. I'm not a fake guru, and I'm not trying to cheat anybody. I'm offended. With Jupiter retrograde in your chart, you were perhaps persecuted for your iconoclastic religion, ethical or spiritual beliefs. This experience was troubling and has left you feeling uneasy about embracing anything larger than yourself out of fear of exile once again. You are also fearful of showing anyone the light of your wisdom as you don't want to feel responsible for jeopardizing their social standing. In this life, you may have come full circle and snub religious or hold it in disdain. Your lack of spirituality or fickle relationships with spiritual beliefs may leave you feeling flat. Coming to terms with the things that make you happy and listening to your inner voice will set you free. And in this case, that inner voice is Vesta, the high priestess. Because that's what even though they call her priestess, at the end of the day, she's prefiguring. The high priestess is your wisdom, is your intuition. So they're kind of saying it is some type of belief system or religious uh, repression from either this life or a past life. This one is Scrib.com. Scrib.com, retrograde planets, past life connections. So I want to see Juno retrograde, but they don't want to show it to me. I'm still gonna keep. Can I take this or what? Can I take it? Yes, I can. All right, give me a second. But I still got to download to get paid what I'm looking for. Maybe I might be able to get out now. All right, it's taking to me too long, and I don't feel like it. So I'm gonna just copy this web link so I can come back because I want to start dealing more with retrogrades and their past life connections. And you're gonna be my experiment. Experiment. I've done it before, but I'm being more like focused. So give me a second. I'm gonna try to go to page 2. Let's see if they let me. They gave me Mercury, Venus, Mars, and that was it. A retrograde. But we definitely need Pluto. Pluto. When are we doing Jupiter? My bad. But either way, we gotta go to page 2. See, they ain't gonna let me do it. Bummer, dude. To my download with a free trial. Man, I'm not giving you my Facebook or Google information, nigga. Alright. Just give me a second. Alright, give me one thing. I'm gonna try to see what they talking about. So if I say join, this thing really acting funny. I don't know why this thing is giving me a hard way to go. Oh, email. You can sign up. Well, I'll tell you what I might try to do. Give me a second, y'all. I'm trying to get up in here. I gotta cut this off anyway. Alright, I'm gonna cut this off, do what I gotta do. Come back, we'll be starting part 2. The reason why I'm gonna cut it off because I had some problems with the video. Audio, it didn't want to do the full length, so I don't want to make a long audio and then it don't take it. I'm out. Okay, we're trying to find the past life meaning of a Jupiter retrograde. Is it past life? Let me see. Okay, now this is signsbystars.com. Now remember, I always try to get the information and then we try to break it down. And whether people believe it or not, that's you can believe whatever you want. But spirit works through that. Because all information will not apply to this person. By working with spirit and just seeing what's on the chart, that's how we find out. So you should always wait to the conclusion before you just hear something and be like, no. Patience. So this is signsbystars.com. Jupiter retrograde shows that you used wrongly in past lives the attributes of this planet. Faith, wealth, power in a past life. You did one of these mistakes. You wasted your wealth. You have taken advantage of power and judged others by their own ideas and opinions and faith. As a result of this fact that Jupiter is retrograde, and in this life will be very difficult for you to accept changes, and you are very cautious about the new trends of morality. The strong moral convictions are deeply grounded in childhood, and this life is a mandatory honest fairness, self-control, respect others' opinion, and not impose your opinions or ideas. And Jupiter retrograde, it's just watching the chart, those two houses, it's implying that they're just really repressed. They're really repressed, probably because of past life. But whereas most people might want to get up and go and take chances, because that's all Jupiter. Get up and go, travel, let's go, let's have fun, let's blow up, let's expand. This person would be more reserved in those areas. Also, Jupiter retrograde can mean the person won't trust in luck as much as they would. They won't really believe in it. Like they might not feel they deserve it, but that's the repression going on. Because that first house is definitely about repression. Investors there to help you. Give me one moment, please. All right. I'm going to pause this for one moment. I'll be back. All right, let's continue. Let's continue. Signs by stars. I think it's the same one. All right, what happened? Please don't do this again. All right. So you went Jupiter. This is Astrago. We're looking for Jupiter now. So we're going to say Astrago. All right, give me just a second to regroup. All right. I believe we're still looking at Jupiter retrograde, I believe. All right, now we're going. See, this one does it too. It's astrologyanswers.com. They did like Uranus, Venus and Saturn, but they didn't do Jupiter. Let me just read some of this. They're telling you any retrograde is telling you this is where you have to slow down, reflect, things of that nature. But what I want to do is see if they have Jupiter astrology answers. Jupiter retrograde past life. How to use Jupiter retrograde to improve your karma by astrology answers. So we'll check that out. Alright, I forgot about that one. Alright, here you go. This is HorizonsMagazine.com, HorizonsMagazine.com. Natal Jupiter retrograde has doubts about what they deserve, and so find it easy to settle for crumbs, not good. Feel superior in some way inside. Abundance is felt on the inside. Looks inside for answers to religious questions. Jupiter represents the principles of expansion, gambling, speculation, luck, opportunities, optimism, abundance, travel, higher education, teaching, religion, and philosophy. Approximately 4 months ago, forget that part. When Jupiter goes retrograde, you are likely to see its influence roll through your life and society around you. Plans have a tendency to implode. Jupiter retrograde influences us intentionally to look within to seek new meanings. You may find you can best use these opportunities to reevaluate your life and reach new levels of awareness and understanding. Abundance is felt within, and you search the world looking to discover truth and develop a broader philosophy of life and living. At the same time, you may feel hesitant about involving yourself too deeply into others' affairs or sharing your views out of concern of being thought so different that you may be cast out of public opinion. You must remain open and honest with yourself in order to expand your spirituality and allow your inner voice to guide you. Jupiter retrograde can use you to encounter. Jupiter retrograde can cause you to encounter one impediment after another in your search for understanding and positive experiences, especially in early life. Positive abilities, talents, attributes, skills tend to come later in life. Higher education is prone to be delayed if it comes at all. One of the beneficial aspects of this placement is that you are more likely to be introspective, which assists in developing of higher spiritual ideas. So that's how Vesta would use it. Vesta would use your Jupiter retrograde to help you develop higher spiritual ideas. Whether you believe in reincarnation or not, past lives can be a metaphor to help understand the meaning of a retrograde. If you do believe in reincarnation, the lifetimes you've brought into this embodiment have a significant impact on your current life. If a planet appears in your birth chart in its retrograde cycle, these are indicative of a monumental happening that once occurred in a past life. This could suggest that you pay attention to the lessons you never learned in the past life and that you strive towards achieving these goals in the current embodiment. Each of the planets represent a different lesson to be learned. And this is in paganspath.com. But that's interesting. Uh-oh. They got the nerve to have Chiron. I don't believe this. They got the nerve to have Chiron retrograde. It says Chiron rules over spirituality or the higher purpose in everyday business matters. When Chiron goes retrograde, the potential for corruption increases. Through stealing, cooking the books, or making unfair business deals. Those in position of power put their reputations and their business at risk for the sake of the bottom line and greed. And it's during the retrograde period that their practices can easily be caught. If Chiron is retrograde in your chart, you face issues of arrogance and or greed. You may have overwhelming desires to exceed at any cost and at the expense of others. Looking for the easy way to reach easy street, even if it means making unscrupulous deals in the process. From a past life perspective, you were probably a person who lived in poverty or were destitute or both. Or you may have been expected to succeed, pressured at all turns, but failed in some manner, only to be blamed, disrespected, or ostracized from those you cared most about. Either of these situations possibly left you with seeing the suffering of those you loved, which left a very strong impression on your soul. The past incarnations have left you with a drive to succeed at any cost. To overcome these lessons, it's time to realize that success is not measured by financial wealth and position. Even the richest couple can be left alone and lonely, not knowing who to trust. Be thankful for the little blessings in your life. Gratitude for a loving family and abundance of friends is a true gift of success. Now we're doing Jupiter retrograde. Jupiter can affect people in a very holistic manner. This retrograde causes society to reevaluate ethics. Spiritual beliefs and positions are questioned. Laws and acceptance or unaccepted behavior are reevaluated. Jupiter's retrograde reminds us that we're all connected on a society, culture, and people level. From this viewpoint, we see more of the things we have in common instead of differences. Jupiter is also a ruler of travel. When in retrograde, travel plans are often adversely affected. Even the best well-laid plans can fall short. Luggage can be lost, means of transportation can develop mechanical problems, and reservations can be mixed up or canceled. Jupiter in the past life. If Jupiter is retrograde in your chart, searching for ethics, values, and fairness is probably a strong part of your personality. You seek and look for deeper meanings in life. Scientific or philosophical research may have great interest. You may shun spiritual beliefs and feel a lack of respect for those who have a strong sense of spirituality in their lives. But not having this type of spiritual connection in life makes you feel flat and sometimes empty. You probably feel bogged down or boxed in by routine, rituals, or blind faith. And that's what Virgo does. Virgo deals with routines. You continually question the latest fad or intellectual thought only to feel disappointed in the end. You're looking for that perfect spiritual path with intellect, hoping to find the right balance between the two. From a past life perspective, there may have been a lifetime when you were persecuted for your spiritual or ethic beliefs. This experience has probably left you feeling uneasy about embracing anything larger than yourself out of fear of another existence of persecution. You may be concerned with showing your wisdom, feeling fearful of reality, or for jeopardizing the possession of those who listen to you. To overcome these lessons, try to listen to your inner voice and intuition. We all have gut feeling, and a healthy amount of skepticism is a good thing. But too much can bring you from finding the balance you seek. Take a little step and start with meditation. Even if you don't want to associate with a spiritual path, you can't deny the scientific benefits of such an exercise. When you do meditate, take time to listen to your inner voice, and you might find the perfect path you're looking for. So, a lot of repression. All right. This is astrologyanswers.com. If you have been ignoring a key karmic principle in your life, Jupiter retrograde is going to inspire you to start paying attention to it. Pretending the problem isn't there is going to make it go away. That karmic boomerang could make the consequences even worse if you aren't reviewing and reflecting and correcting your role in certain situations. All right. Jupiter retrograde can cause the individual to turn inward with their expression of life. Rather than outwardly express great joy and celebration of life, the person seems to be so stoic and serious in their approach. There may be conflict over religion and spiritual beliefs with them and those around them. With Jupiter being retrograde, they may seem to take life more serious. But the individual can face life with the assurance of not overdoing. The person may have a comfortable presence of confidence without seeming to be arrogant. In their past lives, the individual has learned the lesson of when to go for it and when to lay in wait. The placement of Jupiter and where it rules in the area of an inwardly optimistic individual. The placement of Jupiter and where it rules is the area of an inwardly optimistic individual. Alright, now I gotta save this. Alright, give me a second. Now I gotta open this up. Nah, that ain't it. Oh, I shouldn't have did this printer. I think we get the gist. They got Astro software. It says past life report options, karmic reports. Give me a second. Again, I'm looking at a lot of stuff. Planets in a horoscope chart, which are marked as being in retrograde motion, hide or reverse the true energy of that planet, because they hide it because it goes internal, or they reverse it. Meaning, if Jupiter means fortune and abundance and luck, and reverse Jupiter retrograde means all that stuff goes internal, or no, it doesn't mean fortune and expansion or good luck. It's the opposite. From a perspective of past life experience, This usually means that some experience in a prior lifetime was so negative that the individual refuses to use that planetary energy in any manner. So Jupiter retrograde, you are connected with growth and expansion but find it difficult to achieve. Success or luck may elude you. In a prior life, you may have refused to change with the times, holding on to outmoded ideas and ideals. In each life, you learn lessons and grow. Since you chose not to make changes in one life, it is necessary for you to go through the lesson of that life again. Your lesson in this lifetime is to determine which opportunities offered to you will create the greatest amount of personal growth and expansion. When you make your changes, success will occur on the outside as well. So you have repression due to past life activities, what's going on with that, and you don't want to take chances, but the universe is saying wherever you see those retrogrades, you gotta work on it. Come on, man. All right. So this is a pathway to extension. They say Jupiter retrograde tends to procrastinate so much that it's always planning, but it never gets anything done because it's always planning to do it. But Jupiter retrograde does offer the opportunity for a highly spiritual incarnation, and that's why Vested is trying to make it happen. Jupiter retrograde is a free spirit and cannot follow happily in the footsteps of others. A person with Jupiter retrograde can have great wisdom and or prophetic ability, especially if they attain to spiritual maturity. I mean, it also means you probably have had deja vu experiences, and wherever you are on the planet, you can feel at home. Okay, Jupiter retrograde. So if your Jupiter is Retrograde, it turns everything inwards. You may have trouble dealing with external pressures because you're so focused on your inner environment. And the people you encounter may react by putting up a phony front to avoid having to get too deeply involved. This self-absorption, can also manifest in greediness, selfishness, lack of empathy, and a sense of dissatisfaction in life in general. You have a Jupiter retrograde. Take this opportunity as an experience to explore yourself, your values, and morals. Jupiter in retrograde like give to charity and likes humane projects. They don't like not-for-profit businesses. So children that were born with Jupiter in retrograde, they tend to develop amazing plans, but have a hard time early getting started on anything. And that challenge can be faced with help from friends. Jupiter and Saturn are social planets. Jupiter retrograde causes you to evaluate your ethics as a society, philosophies, religious beliefs, spiritual beliefs, all these things that cause this person to really question them. So a person with Jupiter retrograde is always searching for some type of ethics or belief system, seeking truth and deeper. So basically, outwardly, they may not show a lot of interest in spirituality or religion outwardly, but inwardly they will. They will. Or if they trust a person, they may open up more because they got some type of thing going on. Could have been some type of sexual thing. It could have been some type of religious persecution. It's just really in there. But despite all that, they're still trying to they're identifying this person as a priest from possibly ancient Egypt, a priestess. And so that's why if you see is separated. That's why you got all this other activity like on the other side of her chart, but on that those two houses, the first and the 12th, and your first house really your 12th house is supposed to be at the final stages of your life here on earth, and the first house can be about you entering this world, ascending into this world. And that's why you read your Bible. And the suck and suck beast ascended out of the bottomless pit and all that ascension. And so that's the ascendant. All right, so we got that, and then I want Chiron, the Chiron retrograde. Alright, so we're going to start. Alright, so that was interesting. Because I was speaking a lot this, like I said, right now, Leo, the universe is right now using Leo to just start firing things up. Because we're about to go into a cataclysmic change. That's why if you spend more time in real life and metaphysics, or if you just get some information and research it yourself, but this is just not the time to be caught up on silly stuff. I'm gonna keep it 100. So Donnell Whitmore Jr. also has a channel on YouTube. So a lot of stuff, messages I'm getting, he's getting too. So he's telling me, lately I've been talking about ether, and he said in the Esther, he said in the Bible Esther is ether, and he said lately his kids been talking about Esther, because ether is the same thing. It's that fiery burning, because Esther burnt out Haman. See, if it wasn't for Esther, there would have been no destruction of Haman. But Haman was God's enemy that had to be put to death. So because of Esther, Haman got ethered. He got done away with, and that's what that either gonna burn it away one way or another. It's gonna purge you or burn you internally. Like all these retrogrades, that's what it do. It get to you eternally, so you make a move or make some type of change or healing or growth. All right. So now we should be getting ready to pick it up as far as pace is concerned. Right. So again, first house is some internal, and don't forget Virgo's a healer too. In case I didn't say that, Virgo represents the sixth house. She rules the sixth house, but she represents health, healing, service, daily duties, daily routines, children, animals, could be co-workers or subordinates, and she represents the home. So we may learn more as we go through your chart, but that's healing. Now, see, all right, well, let's do this. Let's do two things. We're gonna do part of fortune conjunct Jupiter, but we gotta add Jupiter retrograde. So we are gonna read Jupiter retrograde, like just a definition, and want to use cafe astrology. All right, so let me just see. I just want to make sure I had the right one. Give me a second. Um, come on, come on, come on, come on. Because I'm trying to keep this fresh in my mind. All right, we want part of fortune. Come on, come on, come on. All right. I'll be back in a second. All right. Come on, come on, come on. Part of fortune. We're trying to find part of fortune in the planets. But we want to do it. So it's part of fortune in Jupiter. But now you want to see Jupiter. From Cafe Astrology, we just want, this is when Saturn is retrograde. We don't want that. Mercury retrograde, we don't want that. Venus retrograde, we don't want that. Retrogrades, we do want that. And we want Jupiter. But then they're playing games like they do. And that pisses me off. Well, that's what happened last. Cafe Astrology. Oh, that's why I did it twice. I said Cafe Astrology, then I put astrology again, so that's kind of confusing on the computer. Now we should be able to find it. Yep, retrogrades and natal charts. This should be it. Jupiter retrograde. Person born with Jupiter retrograde in the natal charts tend to have different or unusual perspectives, belief systems, or sets of morals. They prefer to learn from their own experiences and reactions to them rather than from others. So this is a person who'll bullshit you. Like if they're talking, they might agree, just agree, but that ain't how they really feel inside. Like this is the person, like they could be, but it's funny because sometimes you can look at a person and say they nerdy, and sometimes they may not even look nerdy. They may actually act sociable, but they're kind of nerdy because they're keeping who they really are inside. But then that other person, sometimes people like that are like straight up freaks, like sexually speaking, they're freaks. Because once you get them privately or whatever, them lights go off, you see a different person. So you got the outwardly person, and that's why this is all going on in the first house, because the first house is about the outwardly a person thing. So this is the type of person that could even have a conversation, and you think you got it, and that's why I be telling people, like when you want to date, you really got to be easy, because like a man thinks differently. A man thinks, okay, we're gonna be together and blah blah, we'll work it out and we'll talk it out. But a woman be totally different, because a woman be on a whole lot of internal stuff. And like the more you understand that, the better off you're gonna be if you get in a relationship. And that's why, like me and my homies, we talking about this stuff now. Mostly me, cause I'm teaching these dudes. But you gotta really realize that as a man, because you thinking, okay, we sat down, we talked about this and everything, and she might agree to everything you said. But she working intel. She's not working externally, and she's only agreeing to everything you said because it's kind of like you set it up. So as you thought you was being a man. I'm being a man. I'm being a good man. We sat down. We had a long talk. But it's different because she ain't working on the same understanding you are. So you might think we had a long talk. She agreed. We got it. And then all of a sudden she ain't agreed to shit. Like when the reality comes, because like that person like was my twin. She is like that. She ain't agreed to shit. So you gotta really learn. You gotta learn like the real art of communication and shit. It's not as easy. It's not as easy as cats think it is. And then what happens a lot of times, because people don't know that, they get into a situation and then they like it don't work out for them, or they break up, or they feel blocked in and all that. But you gotta really understand the art of communication. Because this person right here, they could hold a long ass conversation. You think they really agree and they understand, and they don't. Because it's what's inside. They don't care. They don't care what you talking about. Your belief system, whatever you think, they could care less. It's what they feel inside. So if you can't tap into that real person and learn how to get that person to really open up, you could be in for some big surprises. So they said they don't really have faith in being lucky. They are planners who worry about their future. A lot of that is Virgo. Or consequences of their actions more than others. They may need to learn that they deserve what others might naturally feel entitled to. So that's why I said this person would need to go out and just have fun and leave all the worrying alone. So you're getting that going on there, and then I want to do all this. But now we know about Juno is retrograde, so it's not going to be. It's almost going to be the opposite. Part of fortune in Juno. So the person may not be naturally optimistic. They may be a little bit suspicious or doubting. See that their first two houses is powerful. You understand? So their first two houses are so powerful that if you notice, the rest of their chart don't really have a lot of retrogrades and stuff because the first two houses are powerful. So this person might be a worry wart. They may not, they may not think things are going to work out if they don't do it themselves. And so they definitely feel if they want something to get done, they have to do it themselves. So that's it. We don't have to do the part of fortune anywhere else because we got the basis of the first house. Now that energy in the first house is going to be carried into the 12th house with Leo. And we're going to try to figure it out. Leo in the 12th house. Let's see if my astrologybook.com takes care of that. Yes, it does. When a planet rises in the east, it can now be seen, and thus it enters the 12th house. Just so our first instance of self-expression that we offer into the world are vulnerable and easily defeated. But the effect of that success or failure on our personality is enormous. Putting some of our energy back into ourselves to keep it from being defeated or overwhelmed has two results. If we are aware of what we are doing, it becomes our hidden secret. If this process is unconscious, it becomes a rejected aspect of the self. These secrets or repressed aspects of the self form the classical interpretation of the 12th house. So they still talk about repression, secrets and repression. But what if the immature energy we put into the world isn't defeated early on? Then it can become a source of strength and dominant aspect of our personality, and even signify our career. The 12th house is thus where we build our inner strength to overcome limitations, sorrow, and fears, and where the individual adapts to the collective. It signifies self-doing, where we stand in our own way, where we are not free to let ourselves become and to be who we essentially already are. It also represents that which is hidden, karma, limitations, confinement, prison, betrayal, sacrifice, hospital, institute, nuns, priests, secrets, and secret enemies. Initiation, ultimate understanding, and clarity, charity, given or received. The 12th house is the last of the water houses. It shows what we have brought over from past lives to work on in this life. So we know it's healing. Past life healing is Chiron. With the sun and the Maya, we must learn to deal with limitations coming directly from the misuse of our own energy and will. They're saying the sun, but Leo's ruler is the sun, so that's what they're saying. That servers suffer is the keynote here. We must learn to transcend our own destructive behavior. We can take our own negative attention off ourselves by selfishly helping the less fortunate than we are. We're naturally a giving person, sacrificing our own interests for the sake of inner wisdom, vision, what you feel is right, a compassionate healer. You may find yourself counseling and caring for the needs of others. You tend to work behind the scenes rather than draw attention to yourself. There may be a sense of inferiority with this placement. We've already discovered that in the first house, inhibiting full self-expression until later years. Your inner world is frequently more important than your outer world. But we've already learned they're a master. This person is a master of projection. All right, so we're gonna do a little bit more because they said sun in the 12th house, which the sun does rule Leo, so it's okay. But let me just look around. All right. This is astrologyclub.org. Leo in the 12th house. Compassionate and sensitive, you shine your light to gain attention so you are in a position to share the spotlight with others. So what you're doing, because you want to heal, but a lot of times when people have that Chiron healing that won't heal, they'll help other people. And you'll get some healing, but you'll never get the healing you really need because Chiron won't heal. And so you will be in some type of togetherness or church or something, because that's what the 12th house deals with, buildings and groups to a certain degree. So you will be healing. So this type of person, Leo in the 12th house, wants their light to benefit others before it benefits you. So you really want to heal the lives of others. All right. You might even be very generous. So they say you might even sacrifice yourself or like quote kill unquote yourself to save the cause. But it's good to want to help people, but that's not the way to heal yourself, though. I mean, it's a start, but you really got to work on healing yourself. That's why I don't know if you've ever heard me say this, but if you really understand when they asked Jesus what was the greatest command, he said you must love the Lord with everything you have. Basically, I'm paraphrasing. You must love the Lord with everything you have, and you must love your neighbor as yourself. But people miss it. They think he put the neighbor first. He didn't. He put you got to love God with everything. Then you love yourself. Then you love your neighbor as yourself. Because how can you love your neighbor as yourself if you don't love yourself? So you have to love yourself first. So that's like, to me, the golden rules. Because the more people realize how God feels about that, you're supposed to be loving yourself. And if you understand spirituality, he actually sent his son to die for that to happen. So people that are going around with all this internal stuff and all this guilt and all this, don't feel like I'm adequate and all that, that's something you're putting yourself through. Like, that's why I said if people really understood what the Messiah did, you'd be jumping for joy. That's like going to court and the judge is the court is throwing all these charges on you, and the judge is litigating how long you're gonna be in prison or how severe your sentence is gonna be. And somebody walks up and says, "This person is not guilty." I mean, what are you not guilty? We got this person red-handed. They're guilty of 10 counts. Nope. Because of this blood right here, because of this Messiah, not guilty. So I'm saying if I was in court and I heard that shit, I'd be out the fucking door. They wouldn't have to say it twice. I'm not looking backwards. I was real happy when I understood grace meant and all that stuff. I was real happy. So you don't have to just always be caught up on guilt and a whole lot. Like a lot of us come through dysfunctional families, or just life in itself is crazy. But you don't have to fill yourself up with that every day. Yeah. So they say this person doesn't really have to give up their things and sacrifice. All they really have to do is be the person that they are. And they're saying with this Leo energy, they're like a shining light. Just be a shining light. Just be positive, shining light, and that's all you really need to do. You don't have to keep sacrificing. So the 12th house deals with endings, fulfillment, spirituality, cosmic consciousness, at one minute. It is the house of soul and karma. So Leo indicates that there is a need for selfless service. All right. So it's the house of spirituality, fulfillment, cosmic consciousness, at one or atonement. The house of soul and karma. So it's saying you have a need for selfless service along universal principles and true spiritual values. So they're implying that this could help heal you too. And plus, like Vest is helping you to be, because you were a priestess in a past life, and they're trying to get you in that type of work. So they're saying Leo must be compassionate and merge with the universe. So Leo in the 12th house is telling you to reorganize a personal ego as part of the universal cosmic substance and be humble. So the sun rules Leo. The sun represents the soul on a mundane level, and emphasizes the soul qualities which should be developed by the Leo. On the higher octave, the sun represents the triune aspect of the Trinity of God, and it then implies that Leo on the crux of the 12th house, or in the 12th house, must raise his consciousness to cosmic level rather than just to the level of personal self. So the sun, no matter where it's at, is going to have an effect on your 12th house. So wherever the sun is at, it's going to have an effect on your 12th house. And Pisces also rules the 12th house. All right. You know that took a long time. But the key is, because the way your chart is, they just seem to be showing a time difference. Like maybe at one point in your life you'll be that way, but another point in your life you won't. Because as far as I can tell, it ain't no Ain't no retrogrades on your other side, and all you looking is love and Venus and the number 22 and Juno. It's like it's a period of like really aloneness and really in there, and then all of a sudden you almost blossom. All right, so now we got the essence of the first and 12th houses. Now I want to start